Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Es begrüßt euch wieder einmal euer Carsten Schäfer. Heute heiße ich die Hardcore-Punk-Band BEDTIMEMAGIC aus Boston willkommen, die ich schon von Anfang an mochte. Jetzt endlich klappt das Interview. Ich begrüße Nicholas Pentabona und Morgan Burns. Hi guys, how are you?
Hello.
It's great to talk to you. I just told you I've been wanting to do this for quite a while now, so I'm glad it worked out. But before we get into you crazy guys, let's talk about your past. I always do this in order to get to know the people a little better. Do you come from musical families at all?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think Morgan more than myself, right?
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. My dad played a little bit of guitar and like had a lot of instruments, but collected records. Um, I also ended up collecting records. Like, yeah, just been like very sort of musical focused since I was little. Um, yeah,
Yeah. For me, my parents didn't really do very much. Like they were those kind of people that just go to work and come home. My sister got into music, and I told myself I never would because I didn't want to be like my sister. But over time, I just started to see the things I really liked in it, and so contrary to those fears that I had, I just started to get into it more and more. And I think for me, it felt like a place where I wanted to spend my time. I wanted to spend my energy.
Right. So listening to your music, I'm really interested to know who were or are your musical idols, your musical
Oh,
heroes, people you love to listen to.
Oh man, I'm curious. I've never asked Morgan that in all these years. Who are the people that are your idols musically?
um, I don't know if I have any musical idols really. Right, like I've been a big music collector for a very long time. I listen to I listen to all kinds of stuff. Um, when I was younger, I think I listened to a lot of music that sounded more similar to the music that we play. But as I'm older, I listen to less and less
Yeah,
like I listen to a lot of Motown, a lot of
yeah.
like soul and R&B music. Um,
It's interesting how that happens. How you end
yeah,
up moving away from what got you started and where you currently
right,
are.
right. I still love really loud rock and roll, but and I listen to some, but yeah, I don't know.
I think there's always that hesitation that if you're listening to the stuff that you play all the time, you're accidentally going to just take something from it, you know. And I don't want to do that. If I take something from anything, I want to borrow from somebody that really influenced me in a different genre, and then kind of bring it over. Um, I think for me, heroes, the people that if I was like people likened me to them, I'd be stoked. Or like Philip Glass, and this is going to sound cheesy as hell, but when I was a kid, I loved Jimmy Page and Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. So those were guys that definitely, here I am 15, 16 years old thinking, boy, it'd be cool if I was those guys. But, nowadays I think it's just the idea of idolatry is a little bit skimpy to me. I've met some of my heroes, and that was a horrible idea.
Really, I think some of
Yeah.
the folks like musicians that I've like really
Yeah.
dug for the most part were pretty cool. I mean, definitely like most of the like the punk rockers and stuff that I've met.
Some of them are chill for
Yeah,
sure. Like what's his name, David Yao, from
Jesus
the
Lizard,
Jesus Lizard. He was cool as hell.
right?
But like, I don't know. I worked for a guy who will go unnamed that did a lot of the artwork for bands around here, and I was so excited to work for him. And that guy was a peckerhead, which I don't know if that translates into German, but that means he had a penis for a head.
There are a few words that I can use for that.
Okay.
Uh, Morgan,
Yeah,
you
like
mentioned record collecting twice. Do you have a big record collection?
I don't like to have. I would hope to never have to move it ever again.
It's freaking huge. He just built shelves to hold it in another room. He's got a whole room, plus he's
Right.
building another room.
I mean, it's I guess big in comparison to what I have probably like 4 or 5 thousand records. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's
How
heavy.
about how about CDs? When the music industry lied to the world by saying there was no more demand for vinyl,
This
and they,
guy, I
you know,
appreciate you saying that.
Absolutely, they did.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have their new digital format, CD
Right.
and mini disc and all that kind of stuff. And they destroyed the music industry themselves, which is
Yeah.
really fun. Did you switch to CDs?
So there was definitely a period in the 90s where you couldn't get a lot of things on vinyl. So there's definitely, a bunch of things that like the only release format was CD. And yeah, so then I have it on CD or, you know, the miracles of the modern age, the internet. There, I've like found MP3s of things that were previously unfindable. But yes, I do have some CDs. Like I never. I don't even know if I have a functioning CD player right now.
I tell
I
you,
don't, yeah.
I tell you something about the internet thing in a second, but I know what you're talking about because I have about as many vinyl records as you have, and then I switched to CDs because you couldn't really do anything else, and I have
Yeah.
maybe 10, 12,000 CDs or something. So it is a room full of stuff. But you say internet. If I wanted to buy Bedtime Magic vinyl, I would I would go broke paying postage alone
Crazy,
because
right?
it's unbelievable, and you don't really get the stuff over here because there are people with good taste, but you can't like every good thing. So I wouldn't get your stuff here. It would be like crazy. So I'm glad we've got the internet. That's how I got to know your stuff, man.
It's interesting that you say that because so I despise CDs, and whenever a label says, "Hey, I want to do a CD format," I'm like, "Absolutely not! I don't want to do that. I don't listen to CDs. I don't like them." And back in the '90s, like you said, when I bought them, I would be like, "Great, this was $15, which was a lot back then." And then all of a sudden, it would get scratched or it would flake, or sometimes my friends would get them and they'd be produced wrong, and it's like now I'm out that money. The cases were garbage. But the reason that I think it's interesting you say that is because the only people that buy our CDs are Germany. I don't know why. We send, and it's probably because of the postage. Now that you're saying that, I've been wondering for years, why do we sell so many CDs? Because we only have one record on CD to Germany, and that's probably why.
Yeah, sure. Because if I buy a vinyl record from the US, postage will be somewhere in the region of between 30 and 40
Oh
or
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah,
bucks, you
yeah. We
know.
lose money on vinyl sales to Europe. Absolutely.
See, usually it's more money for postage than it is for the actual record.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
people
Correct.
can actually buy the CD at a much cheaper price. Maybe they just pay 15 or 18 bucks in postage, and that is manageable. But then
That explains so much.
but then
Yeah.
tell me this. I think that the download stuff has a lot to go for it because there are so many bands and artists that can't afford to produce physical product. So you go
Right.
on Bandcamp and you find a little band from the US, from Austria, from Germany, from wherever in the world, Malaysia, Indonesia, and they just put stuff on Bandcamp as a download. You listen
Yeah.
to it and you're just blown away. So it
Yeah.
has something going for it, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it reminds me in the 90s, there was a lot of like tape trading.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
So like I did a little bit of that, but I definitely had some friends who like, like all they listened to was stuff like coming out of Eastern Europe that was like impossible to get in the States. But it was like, like, right. I mean, that's one of the things I love about music is like finding sort of the hidden gems and like
Mm-hmm.
you and I talking and being like, oh, you should really check out this band from Indonesia or wherever that I would never hear of otherwise. Like, yeah,
I think the film industry is really gaining ground in that respect because it used to be so hard to find these low budget like auteur films, and now it's a lot easier with things like Vimeo, YouTube, and whatnot. And so you see people starting to appreciate that type of cinema, which I liken to those demos and tape trading and stuff. For me, that's been great. I didn't like VHS very much. It was kind of a lousy format. And if you sent it, and they X-rayed it or whatever at the post office, you'd ruin it. So point being, I agree with you. I think for music, there'll always be a physical medium that keeps it moving around. But I think for film, especially, the internet has been a huge boon.
I will, however, betray my age by giving you one record that I heard today because it was released today, the new Deep Purple record, Splat.
Oh, I saw that. Is it good?
To me, it is the best since Who Do We Think We Are from 73? The best since Burn, because that was a different lineup in
Yeah.
74. And the best since Perpendicular with Steve Morse, which was yet another style. It's a fantastic record from start to finish.
You're into
And
it, huh?
and well, I am the biggest Deep Purple fan ever. They are the best hard rock band ever. No matter, no Led Zeppelin comes even close to them, no Black Sabbath, no nothing. So you can see
That's
that.
bold
Oh,
claim.
Yeah, I was just
I
thinking
know,
that.
I know that's
I like Deep Purple, but I don't know if I can go that far. But
There's some
That-
people who can though. The guys from Death from Above 1979, huge Deep Purple fans.
See, the thing is, we all have our tastes,
Yeah.
and as long as we have a reason to have our tastes, we are good. But the thing is, do you feel that's another thing that I've found that people who play or deal with music a lot tend to age more slowly.
Interesting.
They remain young at heart, I think.
I think so. I don't know if music necessarily corners the market on that. That may be lost in translation, but I think what keeps people young is having active interests.
There you go. Yeah. I was thinking.
So I think yes, definitely people who are really deeply involved in music age slower. I probably enjoy life more fully, I believe. But I think, people who have any other, like whether it be photography or artwork or woodworking or whatever, like people who are actively engaged in their interests. I think for all of those people that life is more full and longer and happier.
Guys,
Yeah, honestly, I see it there. Oh, go ahead.
Now, guys, could we please stop talking about all that crap and talk about this band, Bedtime Magic?
Sure.
No, thanks very much for going along with this, because those were things that came up, and sometimes
Yeah.
something comes up in conversation and you just want to dwell on it a little bit.
Of course.
How, when, and why did Bedtime Magic come about?
So Bedtime Magic, I was in a band that was fairly improv. They sounded like Can, which is like this old kind of like improv-y, jazzy, kind of weird neo, whatever the term, avant-garde band.
He's German.
Okay, that's what I mean. He's probably
familiar with Can.
We're used to having to explain Can to people. So I was in a band that sounded like Can, and I had 2 jobs at the time, and I was recently divorced, and so I had extra money, and I always wanted a Rickenbacker bass. And I spent.
Hang on, just a second, Nicholas.
Yeah.
You just got divorced and you had some money to spend. I thought it was the other way around.
Well,
you got a divorce and you lose all your money.
We did a no alimony divorce. We didn't have any kids. And the only agreements were that I would get for the rest of my life a Costco wholesale membership and access to her car. But I've never used her car since we got divorced. So I spent the money. I bought a Rickenbacker bass. Also, is that German, Rickenbacker? I don't know. No, they're American, but the name, the name is German. So I bought a Rickenbacker bass, and I said, well, if I just spent $2,000 on a bass, I ought to do something with it. And so I put up all these ads, both in paper and online, saying that I wanted to start a band that was like kind of heavy, like Man is the Bastard, like grindy. And I tried a bunch of guys, and they were fine. Some of them were very talented, but I didn't feel a connection. And the original goal was to have 3 or 4 people in the band. And then I played with Morgan, and he was the only person that, 1, did his own thing. Like, he wasn't waiting for me to tell him what to do. And 2, had just this attitude. Like, I asked him to play a certain beat, and he goes, I'm not playing that. And I go, oh, okay. And then I said, well, wait a minute. That's somebody that will inspire me. That's somebody who's going to move me along. And I remembered him from a coffee shop that I had been working at for years and years. He was a very popular customer. So I think we just synergized through that. Was there anything you want to add to it? But I mean, that's the bulk.
Well, I think at least when I first talked with you about doing this band,
Yeah.
you were always like, oh, I want it to be a 2-piece. I only want it to be 2. So you would if you had wanted it to been more people previously, it had probably.
I think
you've
once
gotten
we
over
played,
it by that
yeah, by that
It's,
point,
it's definitely the first time I played with you. You were like, no, I definitely want it to just be a 2-piece, and I was like, okay, like I'm fine either way,
yeah, I'd entertain having more people, but it's so hard to put together practices.
At this
and
point,
stuff.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not a thing.
Nobody else
So,
is invited.
so you guys, listening to you, looking at you, I think you are not just bandmates, you are friends.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I was at his wedding, and he's been around for a bunch of things in my life. I'm getting married next year. He's invited, all that jazz.
I'm invited.
Yeah.
See, that's what interviews are for, to just, establish a connection between band members. Now, tell us about the name Bedtime Magic and why it is spelled with capital letters only.
I can answer the second half, but he should answer the first half.
So, Bedtime Magic, it's intended to be like a double entendre. In some, it's sort of it sort of has 3 meanings in some regards. In Boston, there was a radio station called it had call letters. They use call letters in the States, but they called themselves Magic. It was like Magic FM, and they played like adult contemporary, so sort of like smooth jazz, like very sort of mellow, like stuff that people were calling yacht rock for a while. I don't know if this means anything to you.
It used to be soft rock, and it used to be good.
Or AOR or whatever.
Right.
Exactly, yes.
Right. So soft rock stuff. And they had an evening time show that was Bedtime Magic, and it was like the softest of the soft rock. So, everything was sort of to lull you to sleep and really to get you to, and so that was sort of it came up with the name sort of inspired by that obviously what we're doing is very much inspired by that.
So if you say yacht rock, then Christopher Cross would have been a heavy metal guy on that show.
Ooh, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is like I actually really like a lot of that. Like
those are fun. We've covered a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I love it too. I love soft rock, always have, always will.
Yeah.
It's just that yacht rock is such a crap term.
It is a cool term.
I don't have a yacht.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
No,
I don't have a yacht.
I actually don't really like sailing at all. Owning a boat seems like a drag.
He came up with that name, and I hated it at first. I thought it was a silly name, and he said, I've been wanting to name a band that for a while, and I go, yeah, maybe we should think of something else. But then I realized there could be this other meaning to Bedtime Magic, where it's like this idea that when you die, the ultimate bedtime, that there's some afterlife or your soul leaves or something. And I was like,
I haven't heard this version.
You haven't heard that? Yeah. For me, it was like this idea that there's some kind of magic that occurs in this after. And I was like, this is, I think that having a tongue-in-cheek kind of sarcastic way of looking at death and stuff, that's part of what it means to me. Although, I recognize his meaning, and we have a lot of fun with like sexual innuendo. You had asked about the all capital letters. So the company that was behind MJX was like CBS or something. Yeah, and we were a
big like multinational media conglomerate.
Yeah, and we were a little bit worried about how that would deal with us having that as a band name. The good news is we've been around for like 13 years, so they can't do shit about it now. But I was like, what if we do it all one word, all capital letters? So if they're like, hey, you're using Bedtime Magic, we can know it's BEDTIME Magic. It just looks like it's Bedtime Magic. And then it kind of stuck, and it was a lot easier to put on logos and signs and things. But that was my thinking with having it. That was plausible deniability.
Right. That and each letter is as important as the next, if not more important than the next.
Mm-hmm.
The B and the M are not the most important letters in the whole.
How dare they?
The whole name. Every letter is equally as important.
So, what was the concept or philosophy for the band, if you had any?
Oh, we do. Yeah, for sure. I mean, once he came up with the bedtime magic thing, we were like, everything has to be sleep related. That's just and it always has to be like a double entendre. There always has to be two different meanings to every title. So like sleepover, obviously sleepovers, but it's also about a friend of his that had nowhere to stay and he had to stay with these people. Or like CPAP, the feeling of choking in your sleep and whatnot. And so there's that. Every album title is extremely sexual. Lie down with dogs,
Yes.
sleep together. Yep. And what were some of the other things that we have that's like part of our band philosophy? Like we can't, if we write something and it's too, this part goes for 4 times, this part's in the key of E, this part's that, we have to fuck it up. We have to. Like we have no choice.
So I think we're forever, you know, a lot of our songs are like a minute or two long, but we're still very worried that people are going to get bored somehow in the middle. So it's often like, oh, let's repeat this 4 times. And then we're both like, that seems too long. We probably should only do it 2. Even though the part is only, you know, maybe 10 seconds of music, we're worried that people will somehow be over it already.
Or conversely, if there's a part where you could get bored and we know you could get bored, we do it.
Then we probably want to play it. That'll be the one song on the record that's like 8 minutes long because we want to just play that part.
Yeah, we did a lock groove on a couple records, so that way the part just repeats until you realize your record's skipping.
Right. It's definitely a little of the Can influence there.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're like, oh, this is the part, we're going to play it for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What I see in you guys is you guys are really sort of alive, lively guys. Your music, especially in the beginning, was absolutely merciless. Did you just do it because you liked it, or did you also want to move people in some way?
I wanted to upset people, and I know that sounds like I'm just being a little bastard, but I wanted to make people feel something and not by choice. You know?
Yeah. So, like, I think we really like aesthetically. Like, I think we both really like how we sound.
Mm-hmm.
We do new and like what we feel is new and interesting stuff for us.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely some confrontational aspects to it. There's definitely, you know, some of the choices we make in this, how we write the songs and how they're recorded and things. We definitely have worked with some people doing recording, and you know, we will intentionally make stuff sound pretty abrasive, and they're like, "Oh, this is sort of hard to listen to." And Nicholas and I are both like, "That's great. That's exactly what we want." And they're like, you know, on our most recent record, I think there's
slide whistle.
Right. There's a song that there's like 10 or 15 seconds of silence at the very beginning of the song. And like, we were pretty insistent that it have that 10 to 15 seconds, which clearly made the people who were mixing and mastering the record pretty uncomfortable with that. They were like, no, you really don't want to do that. You can put 10 seconds at the end. And we said, no, it needs to be at the beginning.
Yeah, we don't want to be those types of people. Like you had mentioned Deep Purple, and the reason I didn't listen to that record is because there was a new The Who, which is absolute shit. There's a new Rolling Stones, which is AI generated cover. And I can't do it, man. And it's like, for us, we don't want to do that. Like part of, you had mentioned eternal youth or whatnot, but part of music is this idea of celebrating life and trying to understand death and trying to understand all the things that come in between the two. And I think that you can't do that if you just you rest on your laurels. If you're just sitting there, like doing the same thing you did and then, you know, reinventing the wheel 16 times, you're never going to get there. So I think for us, it's about challenging ourselves, saying, what have we done in the past and how are we going to do this different in the future? Right. And if that means getting disgusting or getting weird, or like this year we introduced the masks, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep trying to unsettle things.
Which is good, yes, because it makes people think and react and all that. Yes. Quick question: do you like Metallica?
What era of Metallica?
Yeah.
The era when you copied their Kill 'Em All sleeve for Fuck 'Em All on your first release, Knockover City, with Knockover City.
Metallica definitely. I have not been a fan in a long, long time, but they were one of the first like my dad collected records. He listened to, we had a lot of music in the house, but Metallica was one of the first bands that was sort of like my music, that like I was really interested in, that my parents were definitely not interested in. And it would have been like, yeah, very early era Metallica. So, when I was like 10, 11, things like that. Right. So I saw Metallica on the And Justice for All tour. I think I was like 11 at the time. I was like so excited. They were great back then. I think everything that came after And Justice for All I'm not a fan of, but that's all right. They made some really great records.
I'm gonna tell you something that nobody knows. So this is an exclusive for you. The reason that when we had the discussions with the other band on that, Knockover City, that I proposed that explicit thing is I wanted to get as close to their album cover as possible so they would sue us, but they never did. I really wanted to upset, because at the time, you remember, they were suing everybody. And also the picture on the back, for some strange reason, I thought it would be hilarious to add additional members, because that's the famous photo of the four of them. And I was like, what if we had 2 more people to that? That's hilarious. That's really the reason for me for wanting to do Fuck Them All.
Don't we all remember their suit against Napster and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I've always thought he was a piece of shit for that fucking thing. Even if he was right, the way he did it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Right. You released several splits. Apart from Knockover City, you also released splits with Easter Bloodhounds and Greylock. Why? Are they friends, or didn't you have enough material? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Probably both. Probably, yeah, definitely friends. And yeah, I mean, a lot of our songs are like a minute or 2 minutes long, and so. Right, coming up with, so we have 8 or 9 songs that are ready to go, but it's only 15 minutes of music. You can't do a full-length record with 15 minutes, but you can certainly do a split with your friends. Yeah, I mean, that's really the main thing, is that it's bands, people that we really like and are friends with, and wanted to like celebrate their art, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A way to get our stuff out into the world.
And occasionally you play each other's songs as well. So it seems like you just enjoy playing games with friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it, man.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we also, this was the first time we did a record that hit 30 minutes, this new record, Lie Down with Dogs. That was, I can't describe to you how painful that was for me. I'd rather have 2 colonoscopies and a catheter than do that again. So I think in the future, we're going to focus more on 8 songs, 6 songs. He says that we're caught up on splits for now, but maybe like a split in the future, an EP or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think nobody wants to sit down and listen to 30 minutes of so it's just not a thing.
Your first LP was called Pillow Talk. Now, you talked about the name Bedtime Magic and about how you wanted to have this double entendre on LPs. Did you hope that somebody would say, who are these idiots? They are called Bedtime Magic. They put out a record, Pillow Talk. I thought it was some nice, lovely music, and I get this.
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
You hit the nail on the head, my friend.
Yes. And so that works both ways. Not only people who are expecting us to be like something that's nice and soothing, but also we definitely have played with some other bands who play like similar style music to us, who are really sort of bothered by, we don't take ourselves very seriously about this.
And we sing about serious stuff, but we're not like, right.
Yeah. Like there's definitely a thing, a lot of bands that sound similar to us that like want to pretend like they're very tough or something. Like we have no interest in that at all.
No.
We wear silly costumes,
say dumb shit. We have a light show now.
Right. Yeah.
We built our own light show. Yeah, we put LEDs inside the cabinets and we program them and stuff. Also with Pillow Talk, another way we're complete pricks is we wanted to do a picture disc and nobody could afford to put out a picture disc. So Morgan was like, why don't we make the sleeve look like a picture disc? Right. And then when you take it out, instead of having it be pink like the album cover, it's actually clear. And so we were like, all right, let's do that.
Now, what I see in the background, is that a PV speaker to the
Uh,
left?
to the
To
there, yeah, that's
your,
PV, yeah.
yeah,
It had
because I
cat
was,
pee on it for a long time, but it faded, so you can't
because
really see
I,
the cat.
yeah, I was just thinking about Frank Zappa's sons when they had
Oh
Z
yeah.
and they played the the pastiches of 60s, 70s and 80s music.
Hell yeah.
That must have been right up your alley, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I met a girl. I lived in Missouri for a while, and she was obsessed with Frank Zappa. And I didn't really know him at the time, and she just kept pushing him, pushing him, pushing him. And then over the years, I was like, he is a pretty talented guy, huh? And so, and PV, we're fucking huge PV heads. All the shit's PV. The amps are PV. He's thinking of switching back to PV. I got PV like pedals that emulate old PV heads that were too heavy to carry. So yeah.
It, the,
Now,
the price to volume ratio is very good a lot of times with their stuff. Like, I mean, we're so loud that like how the tonality of things, like it doesn't matter that much a lot of times. So, you know, we're not like chasing the perfect sound. We're chasing as much volume as we can possibly afford to get.
you should have been with JBL because I remember JBL loudspeakers used to be crap when they were at low volume, but they were
Yeah.
great when they were played loud, you know.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
So, you have been with several record companies, and considering your release policy and that you don't stick to certain rules and regulations that people expect, it seems to me that you basically say, "Oh, screw it, we're just going to put something out now. We don't care what it is. We're looking for somebody who might just put it out. Fine with us." Is that
Yeah.
the way you work? Is that the way you
Yeah,
roll?
I mean, similar to us doing the split records. A lot of times, the folks who are putting out our records are people that we're friends with, and you know, it's nobody's going to make any money off of our records.
And they know it. And I think that was like with Bobby, he 100% knew this new record. He wasn't going to make money off of
Bobby is the guy who runs the Ghost of
the Ghost of Clear. Yeah,
put out our last record and is going to put out this upcoming one.
he has made it very clear that he did this because he likes the music and he likes us, but he knows he's not going to make a cent.
Right.
Tell us about Between the Sheets, your second LP, which came out in 2021. We don't need to talk about the title. We've got that out of the way. Tell us a little bit about what you sing about.
That was a pandemic record.
Yeah, that was a difficult record. We wrote all of that stuff sort of in the beginning of pandemic. So there's a bunch of stuff on that record that we had never actually played live before we recorded it, which is sort of the opposite of
we
everything
played one
else
song off that record, don't we?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What is that record about? Dying.
Yeah, they're all some way.
We definitely have had a Between the Sheets, and then Pillow Talk is also a lot of stuff about dying.
Yeah, but there was a little bit more interpersonal stuff with that because some of the stuff we wrote in Pillow Talk, that was a different writing process because we would sit down and practice and he would help me write the lyrics. I would have a notebook and I would be like, what do you think? So like Snore, Snore, Snore. He wrote a lot of the lyrics for that. I'd say, what about this? And he'd go, well, maybe this. And I'd write that down. But yeah, by the time we hit Between the Sheets, it was a lot of me writing lyrics, and there's stuff about that.
There's a couple of songs on that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he wrote songs in Between the Sheets, absolutely. And he tends to write stuff like I'll bring him a mishmash of things that don't make sense, and he'll find a way to organize them so they do make sense. He's got a very good ear for that. But like, yeah, the first track was about like Awake is about relationships that you can't shake the feelings. It's sort of a partner song to Long Kiss Goodnight. But Pass Out was about the divorce I was going through, my second divorce. I'm just racking them up, man. Just going through divorce.
And you're going.
I'm going for my third, man. And Bunkmates was about the fact that when I was so my dad is gay. He's been with the same guy since I was 2 years old, and his partner, my other dad, Paul, his ex-wife didn't want him to have rights to the kids. So she told his kids to say that he had molested them. He hadn't, but they told him to say that in court. And so he lost custody of his kids and whatnot. And so Bunkmates was about that, because I was with those kids all the time. They even sat us down and said, "Were you molested?" And I was like, "Nah, like there's nothing like that going on." So that's what that song's about. And yeah, I think it's just sort of bookended and wrapped up with things about like what happens when we die, what happens, when people stop loving us, etc.
Hmm. Now, let's talk about the new record. You just said, oh, the two albums were a little bit like about dying and all that kind of stuff. Now, the thing is, Lie Down with Dogs, looking at the song title, it's about fatigue, napping, sleeping, etc. And they say sleep is a little bit like a little death. What is
Mm-hmm.
this? What is this record about? Is it just about sleeping?
But also, what they say is like a little death. La petite mort is an orgasm. So there we got that duality again.
Mm-hmm. What is this new record about?
There's a bunch of things. Let me think. Like Dozer, that one was great because they're doing a lot of construction around here, and they're forcing people out of their homes, and they're building condos and closing clubs. So Dozer for me was about that type of idea that people are jacking up rent and forcing them out like a bulldozer. My favorite book is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, as we all know. Yeah, that starts with a bulldozer and whatnot. What else we got on there? We got what's the last song on the record? The last song on the record, it's funny you mentioned Zappa. He wrote the music for the last song on the record, May Cause Drowsiness, but lyrically it was just sort of me putting together a bunch of different ideas about the disparity between generations that we have going on in the US now. You have these baby boomers that are, violently defending their right to hold on to things until they die and to keep all the money encapsulated. And then they have, people our age who aren't even kids anymore. I'm 45.
I'm going to be 50.
Yeah, he's going to be 50. And for some reason, we're still being treated like we can't have access to things. Like it's still off limits to us. Like I'm going to be 60 by the time they age out and die. And then what am I going to be able to do?
It's always lovely to talk to kids.
Yeah. We're little babies. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that on there, but my favorite I think was the one with the slide whistles, because I have huge road rage, and for me it was a song about how we're on a tour and traffic stops and starts, and then you get to the end of the traffic and it was just some dickhead like fucking around with his car. He was trying to find his phone, he dropped on the floor, and you just sat in 2 hours of traffic for that. So not always serious,
Huh.
We got a lot of songs about jerking off, so.
But talking about something serious, well, you've talked about a few serious things. Is now, Nicholas, you say your dad is gay, and I look at you and I see that you are not necessarily the Trumpists. How do you see the US? How do you see the world now with this huge move to the right and the abolition of people's rights if they aren't like what they call super straight or whatever? How do you see that?
I think we're really hoping that there's some rebound to this, and that
I mean, there will be. There has to be.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. Current, the world sort of move towards fascism is really, tragic. Doesn't even really do it justice on how bad things are. But I tend to be a little bit more optimistic, I think, than Nicholas is about this. That I have some degree of faith in humanity. That whatever you look for, you're going to find. So if you're looking for the worst in people, it's very easily found. But I think I don't know. I have some hope that things will swing the other way, and that people will, practice more compassion and be more understanding of one another. And I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, for me, he says if you look for the worst in people, you'll find it. But I think the beauty of what's happening right now is that this ugliness was always there, and now we get to see it front and center.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, Jimmy's a tacit, Jimmy's a subtle racist, and they, maybe 10 years ago he couldn't have been so outspoken about it, but now he's like, oh, these immigrants. Okay, Jimmy's a racist. He's telling us front and center. We don't have to guess anymore. Yeah. So I think that in a way it's reminiscent of Reagan's administration, where I grew up 1981 to what was Reagan's second one was like 84 or something, but those were horrible times. People were very much classist. People were very much focused on the idea of big breasts, blonde hair, and I think we're seeing a resurgence of that. I mean, especially because Trump's campaign was the exact same slogan, "Make America Great Again." Yeah. And I think it's just now we know how should I put this? We know what we're dealing with, and it's no longer guesswork.
Mm-hmm. Nicholas, you mentioned The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Have you ever seen the original English BBC TV series?
Yes, and because I know a lot of people love it, I'm just going to say you're not going to like this, but I hated it. My mom bought it for me on VHS, and every character that I thought was a certain way was not that way in the show. Zaphod Beeblebrox, like everybody. I was just like, what is going on right now? Even the robot. What was the robot's name again? I'm trying to remember. The depressed robot.
Yeah.
But Arthur or something. I don't know. No, Arthur was the main guy. Well, I haven't read it. I've read it like 6 times, but I haven't read it in recent past. And I tried reading Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, but
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good too. Well, actually, I saw the TV series before I read the books.
Of course you did. Yeah.
That was nice, but I didn't watch the movie, the Hollywood movie.
I won't do the movie
because that would have destroyed my imagination. I never watched The Hobbit because I had my own imagination of
right.
it.
That is exactly how I feel about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Is like I have it in my head. I read all of the books, even the short stories and stuff, and I'm just like, this is the way I want to keep it.
Right.
I think usually in film adaptation of a book that you love, I think the best you can hope for is that they don't absolutely ruin it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's sort of like in an ideal world, like they'll do a version that is acceptable, but it's not, I can't think of any time that I've been like, you know what, I really liked the movie version better. And I love movies, but it doesn't.
See.
Yeah.
Now, what's up with you and dogs? I see like French bulldogs on Sleep Together, if I'm not totally mistaken, Dachshunds on the new album.
So this is we like having themes in all of our stuff, and so this was also one of the similar to our name. Like people may be thinking that we play like soothing and relaxing music. Was also sort of the idea of like if we have a picture of a cute dog on it, like people might be like, oh, I love French bulldogs. They're my favorite. Like I want to buy this record because it has a French bulldog on it.
That's the old Goodyear campaign. What was it? A baby in tires can get you to buy tires. Can get you to donate to. It was an ad campaign they used to have on the bus. But I think for like when we came up with the idea of dogs, it was this simple. We said bands usually have themes. Like some bands are political, some bands are about sex, like Motley Crue and whatnot. What's our theme? And we were like, sex is played out, but we both like sex. Food is played out, but we both like food. Dogs, and we just looked at each other and we're like, we like dogs.
Right.
So
right.
That's what we're doing.
Which brings me to Sleep Together, because the theme there seemed to be what you wrote on Bandcamp. It's better to be pissed on than pissed off. And you put the vinyl out in piss-colored vinyl. Tell us a little bit about that.
Why do we do that?
Because we're assholes.
Yeah, because we're assholes. I think the cool part of that, too, is like, so my fiance, she's an artist. And he came up with this idea where he's like, what if we have a dog pissing into the vinyl? And so she drew the picture.
Right.
Well, now it works nicely because we have the fluid-filled vinyl.
I want to do that. Yeah, the reissue.
Or something,
yeah, it's filled with liquid.
All right.
So maybe we get piss in there.
I think with most of this stuff, it's really like, why did we do it? Because it makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it just expresses something we wanted to say, or it just does something we wanted to do. I mean, we're not going to make money at this, man. That's not the point. Like this weird idea that music is a manifestation of capital and that, we're monetizing it. Fuck all that. I know this is
I don't think it's wrong for like if people want to make things.
No, we're not going to make. We're going to do it.
Our intention.
Yeah.
Not our intention.
So we're just screaming into the abyss, and then we're putting a hand over our ear and saying, "What is the abyss saying back?" That kind of thing.
Now, the new record, I think, is a little more differentiated in terms of sound. The oral assault has mellowed a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that development.
Well, we're older and more mature now.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right.
Sometimes these things are a setup. Like, what's your thinking? I'm actually curious what Morgan's thinking is. What is your thinking of where we went with this whole thing?
I mean, I don't think we really. I certainly don't set out to write a new record and be like, I really want it to sound like this. I think it's it's sort of what organically happens with Nicholas and I is what we get is what we get.
And he's even eschewed the idea of doing that, like saying we need to make a record that's this,
right?
Because I think that you're right, though. That becomes a stumbling block for sure.
Right. I mean, we keep some degree of theme to stuff, but I think a lot of it is just like this is sort of a picture of this moment in time, like this. This is what we were interested in doing for like this year or right around now, and so we'll put that all together and release it, and then who knows what we'll be doing next, what the next batch will be.
I think he hit he definitely explained that very well. I think for me a little bit of it was set up in my mind, just in the sense that I tend to look back and I say, okay, well, Pillow Talk was everything we were doing in our lives at the time, and Pillow Talk is definitely where we've played for 10 years, the majority of our shows, like that catalog component. But then I said, well, Between the Sheets was so subtle, maybe we go bigger on Sleep Together, and I think we did that. But then I said, well, what if Lie Down with Dogs, we go more, to not bring back up film, but cinematic. Like, let's try to tell a story with that. And he's right. Like, he's always like, don't think too far into it. If you think too far into it, you're just going to start fucking tripping over your own 2 feet. But I'm trying to write stuff right now, again, not exclusively, but that's a little bit more aggressive or takes advantage of like this grunting. So it contrasts with Lie Down with Dogs.
I think part of it too, sound wise, I think we're getting a little bit, at least for me, I'm getting more comfortable with recording, and being willing to like sort of mess around with that.
We're asking more of recording. If you listen to Pillow Talk, really, we were 2 guys just doing like a demo.
Right. It's, like Pillow Talk is really like sort of how we played them live, like no changes, and it was basically like we played them live in the studio, and like that was what we got is what we got. And I think, right, we've been doing this for like 13 years now. I think we've done this a bunch of times, and we've been working with folks that we really are nice to work with in the studio.
Yeah, so, Alex Allenson, such a creative guy.
Right. So I think, maybe some of the change in sound is just we're like, I'm less stressed about like, oh, we got to get the perfect take and move on. It's a little bit more like we can just mess around, like, and so this is us messing around a little bit.
There you go.
So what's next? Are you already working on the new record, even though we already just got a new record?
Yeah.
By accident. We didn't really intend to. I was just like, what do you think of this riff? And then we wrote a whole song, and I was like, and I had 2 riffs for that song, and he goes, this riff doesn't work with that. That became a second song. And then he came up with a cool drum beat for that. So I was like, well, the drum beat's the song. Nobody gives a shit about this riff. It's the drum beat. So we're
probably like halfway.
I know.
third away towards a third, like probably a third to maybe half of the way towards our next record.
Yeah, and I appreciate this feedback, because I want to hear that from people. I want to hear what they thought of what happened, because it's so different when you're performing it to the way it's received, and you don't know if it's going to be the same thing. You know, the big difference for being on stage is that you think everything you're doing is big, and then you look at videos of it and it's just minute, and so you got to go even bigger. And I think that's sort of something I need to reflect on. So when you said what you said about this record, I actually value that a lot, you know, in my writing process.
You talked about playing live. What are Bedtime Magic like live? What do people see? What do
Oh,
people
you guys,
hear?
we got to play Germany, man.
We do.
They don't know what's going to happen.
We're very loud.
You can't not be loud. See, that we tried not to be loud, and with a
You
bass.
try to not be loud.
Briefly, I tried not to have the biggest fucking sound possible. It was when we were in the old space with the old staff.
I remember that, and that was a mistake.
It was like
that was
5 minutes into the band, and with a bass, you can't be quiet. If you're quiet, it doesn't sound like anything.
Right.
Yeah.
We are live. I think for a lot of folks, I think we're fairly uncomfortable. We're very, very loud, like oppressively loud.
Barely clothed.
Yes. In keeping with the theme, all of our equipment is white. We have very bright lights that emit from our speaker cabinets, so it's hard to look at us because there's blinding light behind us.
We wear masks now, so we're very dehumanized in that respect.
Yeah.
And
it's a really good time.
Yeah.
But
you got to get
if you're ready to be like off put a little bit. Otherwise, I think for a lot of folks, we're very uncomfortable.
It's not good for people that are pregnant or have a heart condition. That's not a thing. And I think that also one thing I liked is I got morbidly obese for several years, and I thought that was a great aspect of the live performance. But then my doctor said I got to stop with that. But I thought that was also good because I would go into the audience and be sweaty.
Wait, are you trying to say your weight gain was like some kind of performance?
Oh, absolutely. I'm enjoying that because it defies the idea that people have to look a certain way when they're in a band. I want to be half naked and just 50, 60 pounds overweight.
Food is delicious.
Food is delicious. No, I tried doing blood on stage for a while, by the way, and that didn't work out.
You tried what?
I tried doing blood. I did it one show. That's why my old bass has blood stains on it. Well, fake blood stains.
Yeah.
You didn't even see it because it didn't work out right.
Yeah.
I had a blood capsule in my mouth and I smashed it, but it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, a bit like a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Now, let's just pretend you're on your way to your first chart record. Where can people find your music, website, social media, and so on and so forth? Come on.
AdamandEve.com, amazing.net. Do they have those there, or are they blocked overseas?
I don't know.
Where can people find their stuff? Bobby's got 2 of our records. We always say go to the labels.
You talk about Bobby like people know who Bobby.
They're not ready for Bobby over there.
I'll let you in on a little secret. There's more than one Bobby in the world.
Well, this is the Bobby. Okay. The Bobby.
The Bobby.
Bobby's the Ghost is Clear records.
Oh, so the clear and concise answer, bothdogs.com.
Oh yeah, that's still working. Yeah.
Right. That will direct you to all of our Bandcamp and all of our everything that is available by us.
We'll take you to Bobby.
Yeah.
All right.
Bobby.
I have a few more questions which don't really have anything to do with your music, as if you'd be surprised. But
6
I'm
inches.
interested all the same. Pardon?
6 inches.
Maybe
that doesn't translate.
That's
Never mind.
all right. That's all right. No, I was just converting.
Yeah, what is that in centimeters?
15.
2.42 centimeters per inch, right?
Yeah, honestly, it's probably closer to 6 centimeters. So let's just do that.
It's 15.
Yeah. Wow.
Not inches. So, if you could only take one record to the desert island with you right now, which one would it be?
Oh, man.
Wow. That's a tough one. You asked the hard-hitting questions, my friend. One record. Does it have to be... Can it be a tape?
Of course it can be. You can take whatever you want.
If it was today, like you're only talking about today, not throughout my whole life and then I make this big decision.
That's what I am.
I have been super into the cassette version of not Extreme Conditions. It was Kill Trend Suicide, Brutal Truth.
Okay.
That is so good on cassette. I don't know why, but I've just been haunted by that.
Today I would do Ask the Ages by Sonny Chirac.
Who the fuck is Sonny
Mhm.
Chirac?
Jazz guitarist.
Oh,
Elvin Jones plays drums on it. Pharoah Sanders is on.
really? I know Pharoah Sanders.
Oh man,
It's good stuff.
yeah,
Yes, some people like that. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so you know what I hate is I listen to you guys, and what you do should be so much more in the foreground. The attitude, the music, the fun, the whole thing. But what people, when you have people who are not necessarily into music, all that is being subsidized and supported is classical music and lounge jazz. It's not the stuff that is today, that is everyday people's music. And that's why I said some people like it. I do like that stuff that you talked about, but that was basically where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
I hear you.
So
You know why they do that though, right? Like it's that stuff it's consistent. They don't have to pay the people. I mean, the classical people are pretty much dead. They just pay the performers now.
I don't know. Somebody must have the rights, I
Right.
guess.
Well, the labels, just
So
money making.
yeah. So another thing, it happens to me often, maybe to you too. A song or a riff or a melody comes into your head and develops into a total earworm, eats up your brain, and won't go away for weeks or months on end. Anything that fits that description that has happened recently?
What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner?
What's love got to do with it?
Like
The secondhand emotion.
For years, that song has been stuck in my head. It's yeah.
Lately, these are two very different songs. Did I just talk over you? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Godzilla. You know that song, Godzilla, boom, 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 boom.
Like Edgar Winter.
Yeah.
Winter.
Yeah, so Godzilla has been in my head. Just that plottingness to the whole thing, and then since Oliver Tree died, everywhere on the internet is Oliver Tree. So "Jerk" by Oliver Tree has been in my head. That doesn't seem to want to leave.
Hang on, you were talking about Edgar Winter and Godzilla?
Was it Edgar Winter? It was somebody. I'm trying to remember who did Godzilla.
Edgar Winter did Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah, but Godzilla was isn't it who did Don't Fear the Reaper? They did Godzilla.
Oh yeah, Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Yes.
I think it's Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah.
Nice song. Like it. And then dog, cat, or goldfish?
I fucking hate cats.
Yeah. We're gonna have to go with dogs. He has a tattoo.
Says je n'aime pas les chats. I don't like cats.
Oh, great. A little
Yeah,
bit
you have a
like...
cat. You're looking for your cat,
No,
dude.
I was looking at the book because I forgot the painter, René Magritte, who did
love him.
Ce n'est pas une pipe.
Yeah.
And then it was a pipe.
That's why I did that, because I went to culinary school, so I got this knife, and then I was like, I should make it like the René Magritte thing, and I said, why don't I put something that has nothing to do with the knife? But sometimes people connect it, and they go, oh, is the knife for the cats? I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with it.
And by the way, our 3 cats are currently outside.
Oh, good.
And another thing, do you still have an object from your early childhood that you still treasure?
Wow. I didn't have a very good childhood. I try not to remember a lot of it.
Me neither.
My mom, I'm not going to get into it now, but it was not a fun time for me. So I guess.
But you weren't molested by your dad or your stepfather.
I can say that I wasn't molested by that, but that's all I got.
You got that going.
That's the positive part of my childhood, is I was not molested by people. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a pretty big win.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What do you got? What do you got? You got that bass wasn't it your dad's bass?
Which bass?
The PV bass?
No,
that's your bass. What do you got?
I have a bunch of my dad's records. I have but no like cherished.
Morgan, I have to ask you, being a record collector myself, give me 2 records, one which has the most material value and one which has the most ideal value.
That I have. I have my dad's copy of Sticky Fingers with the original cover with the zipper on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that like
I
I don't
get that.
like I'm just assuming that that's that's worth a lot. It's not. I mean, it's an amazing record. I wouldn't like I wouldn't get rid of it anyway. But I think that that's worth a lot of money.
Do you have the Velvet Underground with the sticker on it? The banana sticker or whatever?
No, no. Yeah, I've got like a Silver Apples record that was my dad's with the like the silver foil. I think that thing is worth a lot of money too. Um, but like ideal value, like what records do I most cherish?
Yes.
Um,
Irrespective of material value.
and I have a lot of like 90s underground punk rock stuff that like you can't get anymore. Let me think. Oh, I have right. I like I have like the Rorschach Neanderthal split 7-inch
Ooh,
that I searched for that record for like 15 years before I could find it.
that
And
is
like,
hard to find even now.
right, right. And it's it's like 6 minutes of music or whatever. But yeah, yeah.
Do you go to record shops, secondhand record shops to find stuff, or do you buy stuff online?
Both, both. It really like if there's something very specific I'm looking for, and it's like, yeah, I'll look for stuff online. If it's something like I'm looking very specifically, I don't like. I don't want to look through web pages for like I can go to a record store and flip through records for hours and like be happy with that. Um, I try and not use the computer as much as possible. So like if there's something like if it's a new record and I don't think I'll be able to find it in stores and things like that, I'll look for it. And sometimes it's I'll look if there's like Discogs, if there's like a very specific thing I'm looking for.
Right. And the very last question I have is, we've talked about everything almost, I think. But is there still something very important, very dear to your heart that you would like to tell our listeners?
You got anything?
No, no, they should mind their own business.
Yeah, mind your own business, guys.
Oh my God. This was such fun, guys. Truly. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for this. Thanks for the music. Some people would
pleasure.
call it unlistenable. I call it a
They might be right.
treat. And I call it a treat. I'm sorry, I'm not really your clientele. But I just love the stuff. And when the next record comes out, let's do this again, please.
Absolutely. Thank you. I would love to do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, this has been good.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one. Bye.
You too.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.